This. It says going live, so I'm going to assume we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hagyard, and you are here on my YouTube channel on this 10th day of January 2023. Or you've tuned in at another time, at least though you know that this is when we recorded. So here we are. And my subject today is logic and assumptions. And the reason I decided to talk about this is we make so many assumptions, and one of them is that we make them logically. One of them is that we're actually dealing with hard facts. One of the other assumptions is that we actually care about the hard facts. And another assumption is that we know how to put them together in a way that actually works. Every single mistake that I have made in my life, as I look back or look around me now, the mistakes have come as a result of me making, well, good morning on this wonderful day. Good morning, Charles. It's wonderful to see you here. I didn't even have time to say hi because I was kind of running late, so I will. Hi, everyone. There, I did my work. Thank you, Charles. So when we look around us and we see people who look like they know what they're doing, they they have all their clothes on in the right order, and inside and outside, and they seem to be smiling and they seem to know what they're doing. The well, hello, Ms. Dev. Happy Tuesday. Happy Shoes Day. When we look around us and we see people doing what appears to be an intentional thing, we assume that they know what they're doing. We assume that they meant to do that. We assume that this was part of a bigger plan that we haven't seen the beginning or the end of. And, a lot of times that's incorrect. A lot of times people are winging it as courageously or as blindly as we are. And we never really think about that. We just assume. I spent a lot of my childhood assuming that everybody else knew what they were doing. I knew I didn't. I was very clear on that. I had no idea what I was doing all the time. Everyone else looked like they were pointed in a direction that meant something to them. And I used to, when I got started in show business, I did stand-up comedy, and I had this whole little portion of my show talking about my assumption that everyone else on the planet got a book, how to live, how to be. And I assumed they got the book because it looked like they knew what they were doing. And I knew I didn't get the book. And that made all the sense in the world because I had no clue. And it wasn't one of those poor me things. I just assumed because we were military that my book hadn't caught up with me yet. It was 3 post offices behind, and it would get here eventually. And the thing is, I never asked my parents if the book was late. It never occurred to me to ask them, because they looked like they knew what they were doing most of the time. Periodically, they would do something that caused me the utmost damned astonishment. And I would think to myself, yeah, and then again, maybe they didn't get a book. Maybe their book is late too. And I never asked them. Can you imagine the looks on their faces if I had asked them what they would have done and said after they'd stopped laughing hilariously? So I was over on Facebook a few minutes ago, and I told this little story that happened the other day, grocery shopping, and I want to share it here because you may not have been over there. So I go to the same place. You get comfortable. It's familiar. You know where to park. You know where the things are if they don't move everything around in the store. And so I was in the cash out line, and I was looking ahead, and I realized that it was one of the younger guys who was cashing out, and which is great. They're so well trained at this store. Everybody's really pleasant. They smile. How are you? And it isn't one of those, how are you? Good, and you? It's not that. They're actually talking to you, which makes all the difference, really. So he's doing his thing, running things through, and I I'm putting things on the conveyor belt in the order that I think they should go in the bag. Not that I'm a control freak, but heavy, heavy, light, light, heavy, heavy, light, light, so that there's some kind of balance, and I, will be able to manage it. in the middle of this all happening, the guy at the end, the person bagging the groceries, suddenly leaves. He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm on a break," or "I'm anything. I found my true love." He just left. and, and the cashier kind of looked and shrugged, and then immediately started pushing stuff through and bagging, so that it was a very seamless transaction. Now, as he looked and realized that his partner had gone, he sort of shook his head. As I said, he shrugged, and he looked at me and he said, "I guess it's just you and me." And I smiled. And so I'm doing what I'm doing, out of the cart onto the belt, and he's off the belt into the bags. But I'm noticing that he is ignoring the order in which I'm doing it, and he's putting all the heavy stuff. And when he finished one bag, which now weighed a ton, he started on the second bag. And I said, rather than, complain, I said, "Who was it who once said, 'I guess it's just you and me'?" And then I watched to see what he would do. And it was brilliant. He paused, he froze, he was in the midst of, he didn't look up, he didn't pause, wait, anything. He just stopped for a split second and then proceeded to take all the heavy stuff back out of the bag. And I roared with laughter. It was great. He looked at me and he said, "I'm sorry about that." I said, "It's okay. It's okay. Laughter cures all things." And then we kept going and kept going and doing the thing. And, it's $1 billion. And I say, "Yes, good. I'll just tap the card and hope and pray." And then, as we were finishing up, he said, "You're very cheerful about things like that." I really am sorry. And I said, it's life. It's what happens when people use flawed logic to make assumptions. And he said, "You're so cheerful." And I said, "Well, you made me laugh, and laughter cures everything. It took the weight off my shoulders and I'm good. And by the way, you fixed it." And he said, "Well, thanks. I appreciate it." And I walked away. Now, the magic in that is it's the small things that make the heavy things bearable. Really, it is the little gestures that make everything work. I walked outside and got hit with wind. It was supposed to be balmy. It was 0. The wind was like minus everything. Stagger to the car, get the bags in. Much easier, though, because he had fixed the problem. These assumptions that we make all the time, one of them being that if you're famous, you must be smart, or if you're famous, you must be good at things, is incorrect. And fortunately, I am doing my level best to correct that false assumption, to give everyone an opportunity to see the flaw in the logic there by showing you who I really am and what I'm really like. And if you have watched any of the work that I have done on television or on stage, or the stuff I'm doing here on social media, you can see that I'm working with a flawed deck of cards. However, I have tremendous optimism and decisions that I have made that I'm going to move forward regardless. I'm going to keep moving forward, because if I don't move forward, I'm standing still and everything keeps going. I'll be left behind. So here's what I wanted to do today when I put this video together. I said to myself, we forget that we're all in this together. We forget that there is a ripple effect that impacts everyone, and not just the people immediately next to us, not just our loved ones or the long-suffering neighbors or the guy at the cash at the grocery store. How we behave, what we do and say, we carry with us. After I left the store, that cashier had laughed. He'd felt good about himself. I didn't chew him out. I didn't go and complain. He was paying attention to me. He was paying attention to his job. And I know he was going to be paying attention to the next person in line, because he was deriving value out of working and doing and being that way. And that's the assumption that I am hoping I trigger in people by watching these videos, by seeing this is the real me, this is the Abby that they hired for better or for worse to be mom and the librarian and God knows who else on UK on television. This is the person they hired to be the clumsy friend bear superhero and wish bear and level up bear. This is the um, person who couldn't find her way to the studio the first time recording Teddy Ruxpin. This is what they got, and you have a story for this. It's kind of long. I'll post it as a comment after the live video. Oh, thank you. This is what I want. I want some conversation going on about assumptions and oops, because here's the thing that matters so much. We bring to the table understandings based on what has happened to us before. Could you imagine life? It would be like 51st dates. If we couldn't make any assumptions and we had to start at zero with everything we do every day, every minute of every day, we'd never get anything done. We'd have to start all over. So we have to put trust in our logic, and we have to put trust in the people who tell us, that's a banana. And when we look at what they've just pointed to and say, well, no, that's a stiletto, and it's one of my favorite shoes. And I can tell one thing about you for sure. You've never had a banana split. And that's how we learn to trust our knowledge, our history, our experiences, and our instincts by trial and error, and by not beating ourselves up when we get it wrong, by laughing ourselves through the oops to get to the end game. This is our journey together. This is us making the best of everything that comes our way. And I think it's really the only way. It is the only way to enjoy the journey we're on. So with that, I'm not going to take too long because I know you're busy and we have tons of things to do. I want to say a couple of things. My great friend, my social media guru, advisor, marketing genius, said to me, you need to do a video that tells people who you are, and then we'll post it. And I said, absolutely. And then we hung up. And I forgot to ask her how she wanted me to do that because she assumed that I knew. And I assumed that she would tell me, and then I realized that she hadn't, and then it was going to be embarrassing to ask. So what we have to know and what we have to understand is this. It's okay to cut each other slack, provided that we don't set each other up for bitter disappointment by claiming things we cannot possibly deliver. And if we fail, we need to step up and own it and apologize. There's a ripple effect going on. We're all these little molecules and we're all bouncing and dancing off each other. We're all facing the same way. We all want to get where we want to go. So to that end, we need more subscribers here in order for this to become a viable vehicle for the other things that I have planned that we're all really excited about. So I know that you have subscribed and I am forever grateful. What I would like you to do is reach out to a couple of friends and say, the woman clearly is a train wreck and it's the better part of 5 minutes every day. And I feel a whole lot better about my trajectory after I watch Abby Heggyard. And tell them to subscribe. It's free. And if they don't watch, well, that's too bad. And if they do watch, I want them to comment and like and share with their friends. So that's the first thing. The second thing is today's Tuesday. In 2 days, it'll be Thursday, and I'll be back. And here's hoping you will be here with me. So between now and then, I want you to make no assumptions. You need to be good to you. You need to lead by example because you deserve it. You're amazing. You make all this possible. Comment, tell me the crazy assumptions you make. Tell your friends, hug you, and then what the heck? It's free. Hug your loved ones. And I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.